questions because I don't think there's a definitive answer to some of these. So I think that if you want to argue that A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are top 10 in the league, you could do that. I think there's an argument to be made for that. Top 5, no. But for the Eagles to have a top 10 potential duo with what Devonta Smith's potential is and what A.J. Brown's potential is, that could be a big deal. And that could be one of the biggest reasons why this team has a successful season. Of course, that depends on what your definition of a successful season is. Text board is open, 609-403-0973 on the text board. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We'll get into your thoughts and comments a little bit later in the hour. But the Phillies start their series with the Mets tonight. We're going to talk some more baseball with Steve Buchanan from DraftKings coming up in about 8 minutes from now. You know, one of the things about this series is no DeGrom, no Scherzer scheduled for the entire weekend. It's a 4-game set. You got the 1 game tonight, the 1 game on Sunday, and the doubleheader on Saturday. You got Nola tonight, Wheeler and Falter tomorrow, and then Gibson on Sunday. So the question is, does that mean the Phillies should win 3 out of 4? There's no DeGrom, no Scherzer. Now, you beat Scherzer last week. So, does that change your opinion? Do you think the Mets are gettable right now because they're reeling from being beaten up by the Braves earlier this week in their series with Atlanta? I am really looking forward to this weekend. And as I voted in Mike Gill's poll on Twitter, I'm going Phillies first. The Phillies are my main priority because for as much as I love the NFL, if you've listened to me here on 97.3 ESPN for the last few years, you know that me, Josh Hennig, at Josh Hennig on Twitter, my 2 loves in terms of sports is NFL/college football, number 1, and number 2 is MMA. I love UFC, I love PFL, I love all that stuff. Right after that is, basketball, baseball, hockey, some order of sense in there. You throw in a little tennis. I do watch the golf majors. But number 1, number 2 is up there. It's NFL for me. But for an NFL preseason game where I know the majority of the starters for the Eagles are not playing, it's not my priority. My priority is the Phillies this weekend. So we'll dig deeper into the Phillies and Mets series this weekend and more baseball with Steve Buchanan from DraftKings on the other side. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles preseason continues Sunday in Cleveland against the Browns.
He fires, and it is caught for a touchdown by Dallas Goedert.
Pre-game coverage starts at noon with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 1 p.m. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's official Eagle station.
Secretary of Agriculture Doug Fisher here. Jersey Fresh eggplant is great fried, baked, or grilled. Pick up Jersey Fresh eggplant at your favorite market today. Love Jersey? Be sure to ask, is it local? Is it Jersey Fresh?
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Alert! We're under construction at Sport Hyundai in Egg Harbor. It's time to make room for our new and improved facility, and you're the big winner. We're clearing out inventory with our incredible construction reduction sale. New Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more in stock and priced to move today. With Hyundai Assurance and America's best warranty, including the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Use our main entrance on Black Horse Pike. Construction reduction deals are once in a lifetime, and this inventory won't last. See for yourself in person or at sporthyundai.com.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Is sports betting about to become way more fun? You bet. Because the BetParks app has a brand new sports book. Live bets and parlays? You bet. Instant deposits and incredible app experience? You bet. Plus, your first bet is risk-free up to $750. So, are you already a winner just for signing up on the BetParks Sportsbook app? You bet. BetParks. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Pennsylvania and New Jersey only. Could your favorite casino app be even better and faster than before? You bet, because the all-new BetParks app has been built around what you really want. Easier sign-up, better gameplay, and faster withdrawals, and all the slots and table games you love. Plus, make your first deposit and get a 100% match up to $750 and an additional 500 free spins. So, are all of your favorite games just a tap away? You bet. BetParks. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Pennsylvania and New Jersey only.
Progressive Snapshot can save you money based on how you drive and how much you drive. So the safer you drive, the more money you could save. Now, if you didn't hear that because you were yelling at another car while driving, let me say it again. You need to calm down. Yelling is just making everyone as stressed out as you are and letting them all know that you definitely aren't trying to save with Progressive Snapshot. And if you did hear it the first time because you weren't yelling at another car, nice work. You'd love Snapshot from Progressive because it rewards safe drivers. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California and North Carolina or from all agents.
Good news, New Jersey. More residents are getting quality, affordable health coverage through Get Covered New Jersey. Established by Governor Murphy, Get Covered New Jersey offers increased plan choices and more savings than ever. If you recently had a life event such as marriage, pregnancy, or insurance loss, you may qualify to enroll now. 9 in 10 enrolling get financial help for plans that include preventive care, prescriptions, and more. And if you meet certain income levels, you may qualify for low to no-cost coverage. Find your plan at getcovered.nj.gov.
5X480. Dayton B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold, deadline fast approaching. But a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done, safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With GMO financing, approved credit excludes Corvette and prior sales.
What you're about to hear may sound unbelievable, but every word is true. Bennett Chevrolet must clear our lot, so we must sell over 200 vehicles immediately. And to do it, we'll pay a minimum, are you ready? Bennett's paying a minimum $10,000 for any trade, running or not, towards any pre-owned vehicle in our huge inventory. I repeat, you'll get a minimum $10,000 for any trade, even the worst rusted, busted rat trap. Just get it to Bennett Chevy now, because it's worth at least $10,000 today. Just imagine how much you're going to get if you have a good trade. Bennett Chevy must blow out truckloads of the all-new Chevy Silverado at thousands below MSRP. Yes, thousands below sticker. And every other new Chevy will be sold at MSRP, not a penny more. There's available 0% financing. Plus, there's never any hassles because Bennett Chevy's non-commissioned sales team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
As I mentioned earlier, important series between the Phillies and the Mets this weekend, starting tonight. By the way, two interesting names in the lineup today. Kyle Schwarber back in the leadoff spot in the DH role for the Phillies, and former Blue Jay Bradley Zimmer is in the lineup tonight. Because I know everyone over at DraftKings has Bradley Zimmer in their DFS lineup tonight. I'm obviously kidding. Steve Buchanan from DraftKings joins us now to talk more baseball. Steve, Welcome back to the show. I know you have tons of information about Bradley Zimmer.
Yeah, he's just hanging on to hitting over 100 on the season. So congratulations on that pickup. He's going to be a great addition to the team.
Well, I mean, the thing is, his fielding percentage for his career, I think, was like 998. So
great fielder.
That's the real reason why he's here. Brandon Marsh isn't in the outfield. You were playing Greg Stubbs, Nick Maton out there for the last few days. So you had to find somebody, and apparently the Blue Jays didn't want him, and the Phillies said, come on down, your next contestant, the price is right.
Yeah, and it's fine as a defensive replacement. Like if he's going to spell somebody to take a day off, whatever, but that is not somebody you should be seeing in your starting lineup moving forward.
Well, the problem is you also got Veerling in the lineup as well tonight. He hasn't been hitting that great. But big picture, Steve, is that the Phillies-Mets, this is an important series this weekend because the Phillies, they're trying to keep pace with the other teams in the wild card. And the Mets, I mean, they just got run over, it felt like, by the Braves, basically. So, give me your perspective as what you are looking for from this 4-game set for the Phils and Mets this weekend.
I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of what you saw last week, right? In those 10 whopping runs the teams combined for in that series last week, because the pitching was at a premium. And you're probably going to get that again here tonight with Nola and Bassett. Like both of these guys have pitched extremely well against each other. I know Nola had a couple of starts where he gave up, a few runs, but the last 2 starts against the Mets have been great. Bassett's been phenomenal against the Phillies too. Like I think on both sides, neither team is hitting above 200 against either pitcher this season.
Right.
So they are, the offense is going to be coming at a premium. And then both ends of the bullpen have been phenomenal. Like when the Mets have a lead, like it's curtains. That's it. You're not going to get anything off Diaz. And then the Phillies on their side too, they've been great on the back end of the bullpen too as well. So I think you're going to be looking at, offense is going to be at a premium, especially tonight. But the nice thing about what the Phillies have coming up, the rest of the season, I don't want to say you're coasting, but you got a really favorable schedule after this season. This series is done against the Mets. The Phillies actually have one of the most generous schedules remainder of the season. The combined win total of the rest of the teams is at 483. That puts them with the 6th best schedule going forward. Like you look at the schedule, 7 against the Nationals, 3 against the Pirates, the Reds, the Cubs, 6 against the Marlins, the Diamondbacks. A lot of teams that you can beat up on after that and really kind of pad that lead in the wild card. So it is a very important series. You definitely want to come out with a win here, but let's just say the Phillies don't end up winning this series. It's a lot of games coming up where you can make up some ground. So that's definitely going to be in the favor of the Phillies, but obviously you'd love to see a series win here after this.
Here's the problem, Steve. What you said, the Philly fan won't accept. In their mind, they're saying no DeGrom, no Scherzer. You can't lose this series. Even you got to at worst split. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's say you had a bad day at the office, one of the games, right? Let's say the doubleheader, you split the doubleheader tomorrow, and then you go into Sunday and you got at least a one in hand. The Phillies fan is saying you got to come out of here with 2 or 3 games.
No, you should, and you should come out of here with 2 or 3 games. But I guess it's easier for me to say because I am not from Philly, so I'm on the outside looking in and going, "Hey, look! If you don't get it, no big deal. You got all these other games coming up." But I mean, to be fair, even the last time we spoke a couple of weeks ago, this Phillies team was kind of fighting for a playoff spot. Now they're like they got one and they got a fairly comfortable cushion behind them because when we mentioned before too, the National League wild card is not really overly competitive, right? Once you get past the teams that are out, you got Milwaukee, you got the Giants, and then it's like, you really don't have to worry about anybody else. So is it crucial to win these series? Sure. You want to win as many games as you can and get your best spot possible. But with this being said and the schedule coming up, there should be a lot of wins coming over the next month and a half to round out this series. So it's a critical series. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying it by any means, but it's nice to know that even if something goes awry in these next few games, you got a very favorable schedule coming up. When you got 7 games left against like the Nationals, for example, who are, I think a AAA team is pushing it at this point, maybe a AA team. Good things are going to happen.
You mentioned the wild card. Let me hit on that with you for a moment here, Steve. The Padres right now are a game behind the Phillies. The Brewers are 1.5 games behind the Padres. The Tatis news seems like it sent San Diego reeling a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Milwaukee kind of miscalculated with the Josh Hader trade
Very
a
badly.
bit. So, and we were talking about this conversation the other day. The problem with the Brewers and the Padres, Steve, is that both of them have pitchers, but outside of the number one guy on both those staffs, you're not really scared of them. You know what I mean? Like Atlanta, they got a 1-2. You're like, oh man, Mets 1-2. Oh man, even the Phillies got a 1-2 that make most people, worry a little bit. After Musgrove, it's like, after Burns, it's like,
I would say the Padres have the advantage there. Blake Snell through the second half, small sample, but through the second half has a sub-1 ERA. He's been lights out in the second half of the season. But is Blake Snell going to be the guy that you're like, when it comes to playoff time? No, but I would say he's a strong, number 2 when it comes down to that. So Musgrove, Snell, that's a good number 1 and 2. You hope you have a series lead after those guys go, and then anything can kind of happen from there. Milwaukee's issue is definitely pitching, like you mentioned. The back of the bullpen is not as strong, although to be fair, Hader hasn't been the guy that we've known, really since the beginning of June. He's really been struggling since then. But what I hate watching teams do, and the Yankees are guilty of this as well, because they traded Jordan Montgomery out of the rotation, and now it's like, boy, you could use somebody like Jordan Montgomery right now in that rotation, is I hate when teams feel like they have enough depth that they can trade away some of these more important pieces. So let's say, for example, for the Brewers, Devin Williams goes down. Well, now you're really up the creek here now, because you don't have Hader, you don't have Williams. Now who's going to close out your games? Kind of with the Yankees too. You traded away Montgomery. Domingo Germán is struggling. Who's going to be your guy in that rotation and take his spot? You don't really have anybody. It's always nice to have depth. And I know teams look at you and go, hey, you got all these, you have XYZ, I can give you these guys. And you go, oh, we have plenty of depth, we can do that. There is nothing you need more in a playoff push than depth, that guys that can step in and take on those crucial roles. So that's going to be a big issue for Milwaukee. That could end up being an issue for the Yankees now, because this team is struggling bad in all facets of the game. So I'm with you. I think Milwaukee has the depth problem more than the Padres. I think the Padres are better there, but that is certainly going to be an issue for Milwaukee moving forward.
We'll get to the Yankees in a bit, because there are Yankee fans in this area, Steve. Sure. But I got to start with the Mets, because the Met fan is sitting there saying, what about us? And Steve from DraftKings Sportsbook joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at SBuchanan24 on Twitter. The Mets, they're only 3.5 games ahead of the Braves.
Yeah.
They lose 3 games this weekend. Yikes. I think Met fans are going to be, throwing things at the TV. They got to get some wins here too. It's not just about the Phillies right now. Look, I know for the Philly fan, they want to win these games. But Steve, I got to tell you, if I'm a Mets fan, I'm a little worried, not because I think I have a bad team, but because the Braves have just been in fuego.
Yeah, no, they really have. And these teams are only playing each other 3 more times the rest of the season. So it's really just going to be those 3 games, and then they're going to have to fight off the rest of it. Now, almost the entire NL East is in the top 10 for, schedule wise the rest of the year. I mentioned how the Phillies are at number 6. The Mets are right there. They have the 3rd easiest schedule after this, 464 combined winning percentage for the rest of the year. So they're right there. And then Atlanta is also in the top 10 there. So these 3 teams in the NL East are basically just going to be beating up on the rest of the league after they face each other. Because even like the Mets, they got 6 against the Nationals. They play the Pirates 7 more times. They got the Oakland Athletics. Like, good Lord, talk about like a cupcake schedule coming up for the Mets. The Mets have obviously, they've lost it. They beat up on the Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and then Atlanta brought it all right back. What a great series between the 2 teams. Literally it's a prize fight right now. I think that Atlanta has a slightly better team than the Mets. It's a razor thin margin. It really, really is a razor thin margin, because I would say that the Mets have the better rotation. I don't think anyone is going to discredit that. I think the bullpens are pretty even across the board. Obviously Diaz brings something that nobody else can bring. So I would probably give a slight bump to the Mets there, but offensively, I feel like the Braves might be the better team. when it comes to offense there. I'm pulling hairs when I'm talking about these two teams. I think they're very, very even, but I think the Braves have the slightly better team. But even if the Mets slip out of the standings in the NL East, they're gonna make the playoffs in the wild card spot, and that's the beauty of the NL not being overly competitive in the wild card spot. So of course you always want to take that division down and get the better seeding and all that stuff. But even if the Mets do somehow slip out of the standings, I don't think it's going to be that overly big of a deal. But I think it's going to be very, very close, and it's really unfortunate for the Mets side that they weren't able to capitalize on that. I think they swept the Braves a couple of weeks ago, or they took 3 out of 4. I can't remember what it was. But it's really a gut punch there that they then lost that series against the Braves to kind of erase that deficit that they created for them.
Yeah, early August, they won 3 out of 4 against Atlanta.
Yep.
But then they just lost 3 out of 4 against Atlanta. So it's like,
it's even out. Yep.
Baseball giveth, baseball taketh away kind of thing, It's funny you mentioned about, the razor thin margin, because one of the things we've been talking about and the description I've used is who has the dudes who scare you, who's got the dudes who make you sweat. Like you look at that Dodgers lineup, like you're sweating bullets. You look at that Braves lineup, you're sweating bullets. I think the Mets are a good team. I think they can go to the World Series, but I don't think it's because of their lineup. I think it's because of their pitching. And I have to wonder if this Mets team goes a little cold with the bats for the next few weeks. We're seeing in Philadelphia, they scored 17 runs total over basically a several-day stretch, and people were losing their minds. And even with Schwarber back, there's no guarantee that's going to fix that. So Philly fans are well aware, hey, if you're not hitting, it looks really bad. I got to wonder, Steve, you look at the Mets in those losses to the Braves, 3-2, 5-0, 13-1. Yikes. If they stay cold, could that be the biggest concern?
Well, the other thing is, too, I think what makes it look worse is that you have somebody like Michael Harris on the Braves lineup who's hitting 8th or 9th, and he is looking like he might start running away with the Rookie of the Year award. Like he's been that good for the Braves, and yet he's batting 8th or 9th for them. Whereas you can pick apart almost the bottom of any team's order, like even like the Yankees or like the bottom of the order, like, kind of Falefa and Trevino or Higashioka catching at the bottom of the order. Not great. But when you have somebody like Harris hitting at the bottom of the order for the Braves, and he's kind of like solidified the spot there, it's like, well, this is a great spot for him. When you have that type of production coming from, the dead bottom of the order, then it makes everybody else bottom half of the order look like, wow, how do you compete with that? But if there's anything that I can say about the Mets lineup is that if there's ever a time to start slumping, while you don't want to do it, get it out of the way now, here in late August. And same with the Yankees. If you're going to slump, do it now and just get it out of your system, because the Yankees haven't slumped all year long. Now they're all doing it at the same time. The pitching staff, the bullpen, the offense, all doing it at the same time, it feels like. So the Braves offense is good, more than good enough, because this is a big reason why they are where they are, because the pitching staff is obviously carried them, but they also have so much power and so much extra base hit power, 1 through, I would even say 6 for the Mets lineup. So if their biggest issue is that 7 through 9 isn't strong, well, you can say that about almost 28 out of the 30 teams in the league. But the Braves are one of those teams who actually has strength down in the bottom of that lineup. And I think, especially after that series, that was magnified greatly in that series, because Harris had a big hit in that series too as well. So I think that really kind of magnifies it for at least for Mets fans, because what they saw over on the Atlanta side.
DraftKings Sportsbook baseball analyst Steve Buchanan joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. While the Phillies and Mets had their series this weekend, you mentioned that other New York team. Yankee fans are losing their minds, Steve.
Yeah.
But you just said it. If you're going to have a cold streak, if you're going to go through the bad stretch, you better get it out of your system now so you don't have to do it. And there's still 9 games up in the division.
Right. And that's why it's like, thank goodness they were on this tear the first 4 months of the season, that they can afford to go on this and still be almost double-digit lead over the next team. Like, that's the benefit. That's what they're reaping right now. But I mean, I tweeted about this earlier. You can't even put into words how bad this offense has been. when you look at some of the teams that have scored more runs than the Yankees this month, some of those teams include the Angels, the Cubs, the Nationals, Pirates, and Royals have all scored more runs than the New York Yankees in the month of August. Like that is absolutely absurd to think about. The Yankees have scored only more runs than 5 teams in Major League Baseball right now: Brewers, Tigers, Athletics, Reds, Marlins. All teams you expect to be near the bottom of the league, and the Yankees are just above them. That is not going to stay that way. That is not going to happen for another month and a half going into the playoffs. So it's ugly to look at right now. But this team is going to start hitting again. They're going to start getting healthy again. The loss of Giancarlo Stanton, I think, is really what kind of threw this lineup off, because now instead of guys like, Jose Trevino hitting 6th, now he's hitting 5th. And it kind of has this domino effect, right? Because if Rizzo and Donaldson are struggling, now you really don't have to pitch to Aaron Judge. You can just kind of put Judge on, because now you don't have to worry about some of these guys below him. So it almost, the loss of Stanton had like this ripple effect. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing right now is why this lineup is struggling. If Stanton comes back and all of a sudden this team's not hitting again, okay, now we might need to start panicking a little bit here. But I think once you get Stanton back, I think that kind of reinserts the lineup on how it should be built. And I think this team starts hitting again.
Does this month of struggles, you think, hurt Aaron Judge's case for MVP at all?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That guy has carried that Yankees team the entire year. When you're in the discussion of if you're going to tie the single season home run record, you should be taking down the MVP award. Really, the only guy in the American League that would be in contention is Shohei Ohtani. And while he's been great because he pitches and he hits, he's not doing what Judge is doing for the team. And that's just the downfall of being on the Angels, which is a franchise that should just be banished from Major League Baseball by scouring these 2 generational players and having them go home every October. So I think Judge more than has this wrapped up, in my opinion. I think this morning he was minus 700 to win it on DraftKings Sportsbook. That's pretty much a win. You can usually check that off if you got it at minus 700 as the odds right now, and you have a ticket yet you're holding. So barring an injury that makes him miss the rest of the regular season, Judge has got this. He's got this wrapped up.
I have to laugh when you say about the Angels, because I remember well, here's the thing. I remember a decade ago when the conversation was at one point, do all the sports need to get rid of a team or two, right?
Yeah.
And the first team that we ran to was baseball, because you look around baseball and every year there's 1 or 2 teams that, like you said, like the Nationals are barely putting a AAA lineup out there, right? So it's like, at what point, like, is this helping baseball and their product? But the problem with the Angels, Steve, is that they violate my one rule of contraction, which is you can't get rid of a team that won a championship. The thing that drives me nuts in sports is having to explain to fans who know nothing beyond their lifetime that, for example, like the Dodgers were in Brooklyn. They were the Brooklyn Dodgers. That's why there's a B on their hat. Like things like that, people have no clue about history. So it's like, if you got rid of the Angels, for example, like how do you explain the 2002 World Series?
Right. No, that's for sure. But I would say that there is no establishment, there is no franchise that bothers me more right now than the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, because you got Shohei Ohtani, who goes 4 for 5 the other night, triple, 3-run home run. The Angels score 7 runs, but they lose 11-7 to, I think it was Seattle. And it's just like, that man is putting his heart and soul into this team that doesn't love him back. That's what it feels like. He's in an abusive relationship. That's what it feels like. He's putting all these ins out. He's getting nothing out of it. That's what it feels like with Shohei Ohtani right now. And Trout's coming back tonight. He's back in the lineup for the Angels tonight. Who's even going to notice? It's a real shame, because
they're playing the Tigers.
Oh yeah, great. Oh, even better. Let's Matt Manning going for the Tigers should be a real barn burner. The ratings are going to be through the roof for that one. But it's a shame. Like we should be seeing Trout. Like just truly, like imagine Ohtani on any championship caliber team this year. Imagine Ohtani or Trout on any championship caliber team right now. How exciting would that be? That'd be so awesome.
Dude, you're preaching to the choir, because in this area, Mike Trout's from Millville. That's literally maybe like less than, maybe a 30-40 minute drive from where I'm sitting right now. Yeah. And it's like, people in this area were like, bring Trout home, bring him to the Phillies. The Trout was like, no, I'm going to stay in Anaheim because they're the team that drafted me when nobody else wanted me, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, oh my gosh, like at some point, like we already know Otani's getting traded at some point, and Trout will still be there alone all over again.
Yep. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. It's an awful vicious cycle. That franchise just needs a complete reset and start from scratch. Like, you guys can be the new Pittsburgh Pirates, and we'll figure it out from there. But that franchise just needs a whole new, for the sake of baseball, that whole franchise just needs a complete reset.
All right, before I let you go, you mentioned ratings. So last weekend, Yankees Red Sox lost in the television viewership numbers to Steelers Seahawks.
Wow.
Preseason game.
Wow.
So the reason I bring that up is in this area, the Eagles are playing on Sunday, but it's a preseason game.
Yeah,
1:00 normal time, right? But the Phillies, they got an important series with the Mets.
Yeah,
and our listeners are saying we're going to watch the Phillies-Mets game. It's more important than the Eagles game, and it's like regionally, baseball is important, but it seems like still on the national level, baseball is still having that traction issue, Steve.
Well, I think it's because the Red Sox are horrible too, right? Like, who cares about the rivalry? Who cares about that game when it really is meaningless? Like, if Yankees Red Sox were 1 and 2 in the division, I think you have a completely different rating. Like, I don't think that ends up getting beat out, right? Like, I think it just comes down. I mean, even for me, like, I'm obviously a huge Red Sox fan. I can't say I was sitting there watching that game. It doesn't mean anything, right? I love baseball. I'll watch other games, but I don't need to tune into Red Sox Yankees when it's pretty meaningless. Like, when I watch MLB TV, I got 4 games on that I'm watching, but that wouldn't be one of them. You know, it's just meaningless. So I think it just has to do with the placement of the teams. Because overall, I think baseball is actually up very big this year, if I'm not mistaken. If I saw that correctly in terms of ratings overall, attendance-wise has been great. Ratings have been great for baseball, which is good to hear. But I'm surprised that it was beat out by a preseason game. But at the same time, it's like, well, this game didn't mean much, and there wasn't a lot of incentive to watch it. So surprised a bit, but I guess in the grand scheme, not always surprised.
Follow him on Twitter at SBuchanan24. Steve Buchanan covers MLB for DraftKings Sportsbook. And, of course, in the football season, he covers the NFL. So he's a perfect person to ask that question, too. Steve, appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy the weekend and try to get some sleep in between all the games.
Oh, boy, we'll try. All right, dude. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank in Seattle City. Thank you for listening to wherever you catch the show each and every night. We'll get to the thoughts on the text board. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You can also get DM the show through the aforementioned free 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Don't forget, of course, Eagles, you could hear the preseason action this Sunday. Merrill Reese, Mike Quick. It's a preseason game, but Merrill and Mike are still on the call right here on your home for the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN.
Tomorrow on ESPN Radio.
When we're right and when we're whole, we are going to be a very good offense. Obviously, we got to play better.
While the Yankees have been struggling since the All-Star break, they still sit high atop the AL East. This weekend, they welcome Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays, who are fighting for the AL wildcard lead. The Yankees and Blue Jays. Coverage begins tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, Birds fans, it's about that time. Football season is back, and Boardwalk Honda is giving you the chance to score big. Stop in and take advantage of game-changing savings all month long. Shop our lineup of new pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have something for everyone, and credit problems are no problem with over 25 financial lenders to get you approved and on the road to victory. Visit us in Egg Harbor Township or online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year you won't go back to school. You'll be ready to move forward into art class.
A 4-foot replica of the Statue of Liberty using elbow macaroni?
With glue and art supplies from Staples.
By tomorrow.
Right now, 24-count Crayola crayons and Polly Pocket folders are just 50 cents each. Plus, select lunch and backpack sets are only $14.99. Staples, we're not going back. We're going forward to school. In-store only folder and crayon offers end date 27, limit 30. Backpacks end date 20.
Come on, giddy up, get a move on.
Where are we going, Tex? Tombstone, Abilene, Dodge City?
Nope, we're headed east. We gotta get going. We still got a long ride in front of us, and I ain't gonna miss Chicken Palooza for nothing.
It's Royal Farms Chicken Palooza with great chicken box, sandwich deals, and more all summer long. Get a 2-piece world-famous box, white or dark meat, for just $6, and 10 cents of each sale will be donated to local charities. You can also get a classic, spicy, or deluxe world-famous chicken sandwich. Plus, you can register for a chance to win world-famous chicken for a year. Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Nobody wants to miss it.
Come on, you horsies. We're almost there.
Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes ends August 31st, 2022. Chicken for a year prize to be awarded as 8 $100 Royal Farms gift cards. For details and official rules, visit royalfarms.com/chicken-palooza-sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Royal Farms.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. Ha ha! 5 weeks ago. With up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they like.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Not long ago, I wouldn't even leave my house.
Addiction had such a hold on me. I was a stranger in my own life.
My sister told me about 844-REACH-NJ.
I learned about medication that could support recovery. And it's working for me.
With medication supporting my recovery, I'm moving forward.
844-REACH-NJ was my first step back into life. And it feels amazing.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Call 844-REACH-NJ to learn about medication that can support your recovery. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket, like Luke here.
I'm Luke, and I live outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My favorite thing about cricket is the reliability and simplicity. There's no hidden fees or charges, no gotcha moments. Every month we get the same consistent bill and know exactly what we're getting. The tagline should be communication simplified.
Join Cricket Nation and see for yourself at cricketwireless.com. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customers paid for their testimonials. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
We're Town Square Media, and along with the awesome radio station you're listening to right now, we're publishers of best-in-class national entertainment brands like Taste of Country, Pop Crush, and more. And when combined with our local brands, we can reach over 70% of consumers in our community. At Town Square, all this digital clout puts us in a unique position to help local businesses grow with powerful marketing solutions. In addition to local radio, we're experts at web design and SEO, plus targetable advertising solutions like streaming TV, addressable geofencing, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, search engine marketing, and so much more. That may sound like a lot of buzzwords, but really all that matters is we can deliver a relevant and ideal target audience to your business with data-informed decisions. No guessing, no waste, and you gain a trusted marketing partner with Town Square Media.
Take your business to the next level. Call our Director of Sales, Jim McLean, today at 609-910-5247.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, wrapping up the show here on 97.3 ESPN. A couple things to get to before we get out of here. First, we'll check in on the text board at 609-403-0973. Also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Scott from Irma chimes in on the text board, says, you said it, Josh. Trout is from our backyard. Shame on the Phillies scouts. Shame on them. No wonder Trout doesn't want to play here. That's from Scott and Irma. Here's the thing, Scott. I don't think it's purely because the Phillies didn't draft him per se. You know, Mike Trout's a very loyal guy. And I think that, you know, for him, you know, he realizes that almost every baseball team passed on him in that year's draft. Remember, he was a 25th overall pick. The Angels themselves passed over him the first time round. So when you go through the 2009 draft and you realize the teams that were ahead of the Angels that could have drafted him, it does make the whole thing a little bit worse, shall I call it. But here's the problem. The 2009 draft, you're talking about Steven Strasburg number 1 overall, and people totally understand that. But then you start going through and you realize the Phillies didn't really have a chance to get him. The Phillies did not have a pick before 25th overall. So I don't think that's accurate, Scott from Irma. It's not that he is angry with the Phillies per se. I think he's just loyal to the Angels because the Phillies didn't have a draft pick ahead of 25th. They theoretically would have had the 27th overall pick, but the Phillies apparently had to forfeit that due to draft compensation. So the Phillies, if they would have had their pick, they would have been 2 picks behind where he was taken. In fact, the Phillies didn't have a draft pick in the first round of the 2009 draft. So, you know, I can't say he's mad at the Phillies, Scott from Irma, but what I will say is Mike Trout is a very loyal guy. He really feels very strongly about staying with Anaheim because they were the one team that believed in him and looked at him. Also on the text board, texter says, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith may not be a top 5 wide receiver duo, but I think when you put it all together with them plus Watkins, plus Goddard, plus Miles Sanders catching out of the backfield, I would say we probably have top 3 starting potential pass catchers. Here's the problem with that connotation. First of all, Miles Sanders, the guy can't stay healthy, so you can't depend on him for anything. I don't know what Watkins is going to be yet in this offense. If you were to tell me that the trio of Goddard, Brown, and Smith at their potential, at their apex, can be a top 5 receiver trio, I think that's fair. Because I think that when you look around the rest of the league, not many teams have 3 guys that are that high level. You know, you look in Cincinnati with Boyd and Higgins and Jamar Chase. I don't know if anybody is getting that excited about Irv Smith with the Vikings alongside Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. You know, losing Tyreek Hill is a huge blow to the Chiefs' big 3 with Kelsey. And then, you know, I guess you could say Chris Olave with Thomas and Landry down in New Orleans. They're a big 3. Gesicki along with Waddle and Tyreek Hill could be a great trio down in Miami. So it's an interesting conversation. Obviously, we're completely doing projections and things like that, but it's a fun conversation. We're going to keep having it here on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget this weekend here on 97.3 ESPN, Billy Schweim in the locker room. I'll be with Billy tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon here on 97.3 ESPN. And then Sunday following Billy Schweim with Pete Thompson in the locker room at 12 o'clock, coverage of Eagles football here on 97.3 ESPN. Plus Yankees Blue Jays tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. all here on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Hey, it's Tom P., host of Rack and Fin Radio, inviting you to join me every Saturday morning at 7 here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Each week, we discuss the hot topics affecting the sportsmen and sportswomen in New Jersey. Hunting, fishing, boating, conservation, and Second Amendment topics are some of the issues that are covered in depth.
Rack and Fin Radio is sponsored by Holtz Boatworks and Batteries Plus Bulbs. Check out Rack and Fin Radio every Saturday morning at 7 on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey sports leader.